Hi everyone, this is Hannah Allison, Communications Coordinator here at Second Chance Pet Adoptions, and I am joined by our volunteer coordinator for our Hearts to Home Transport program, Megan, and one of our transport dogs, Grant, right down here. We are currently in a campaign asking for help with our foster program for the transport program. So if you're interested in learning more about how you can help, just stay tuned and pop any questions you may have in the chat, and I will just let Megan take it away and explain everything about the program. So thanks for tuning in, and again, let us know if you have any questions.
Hey guys, so you might have heard about our Hearts to Home transport program. I started it probably just a couple years ago. I can't remember exactly, but so what we do is we pull dogs out of county shelters. So they're open intake shelters. They have to take in stray animals. They can't turn anyone away. So these shelters often get full and they need lots of help from rescues to pull animals out because they can't rely on adoptions. So what we do is we actually network with some rescues up north, and we send these dogs, the information about these dogs, pictures, videos, dog tests, to these rescues to get interest. And the rescues up north will commit to taking these dogs, but in the meantime, we have to pull them out of shelters and we have to put them into foster homes for about 2 weeks. And during this 2-week period, they are going to the vet, they're getting a health certificate to travel, sometimes they're being spayed and neutered if the rescue is not doing that upon the time that they get the dog. And one benefit to that is when we are able to get them fully vetted here for the rescue, a lot of times they go ahead and put them online for adoption, and they have adopters waiting, so they can go straight to homes when they get there if it's a good fit for them. A lot of our rescues, they're very selective of finding the right home for the right dog. So if that dog needs something special, they usually cater to that dog's needs. So if they mostly get fully vetted here, sometimes our vets are backed up, and so the rescues will finish vetting them there once they get to the rescue. And we have a bunch of volunteers who love to drive transport for us, and that's another way you can help. We have volunteers from Raleigh, North Carolina, all the way up to New Jersey, and they typically drive our legs for us, connecting these dogs to other drivers to get to their rescues. I'm going to give Grant to Hannah right here. He's getting a little anxious, so she can walk him around. So a reason why we do this is because our shelters get super full, and our rescue partners, they do have dogs available up north, but they don't always have some mixed breed mutts that we have. They don't have a big selection of those, so they'll have adopters who are waiting for unique looking dogs, or just a dog that they can't find in the shelters up there. So when we find a dog that fits their adopter's needs, we're able to pull it out of the shelter here and send it to them, and then in return that helps save more dogs from the counties down here in North Carolina who are overwhelmed with dogs and they can't get them out quick enough, because we have our regular program and we're able to get out quite a few dogs through our regular program, but with our transport program we're able to save even more. So what we need is we need some fosters who are willing to bring these dogs into their homes for about 2 weeks. That's generally the time that we need, and to just love on them, give them the care, attention, everything that they need. We do pay for everything, so you don't have to pay for anything. We can provide you with a crate, food, toys, bowls, leashes, harnesses, whatever the dog might need while it's with you. And the only thing that our fosters generally have to do is to take them to a vet appointment, and if they are working and they can't get them to the vet appointment, we have a lot of volunteers who are willing to take them to those appointments for us, so that really helps. And then you actually get to choose how often you would be fostering. So we have a Facebook group that's private for our fosters, and we have an email we send out when there are needs. So typically we'll post some dogs that we need fosters for, And then we will have open fosters that'll say, hey, I'll take that dog, or hey, I can do it. So if you know you're going on vacation and you want to foster, but you're going on vacation next month, you could still foster this month and you can save a life that way. It's really awesome because they have a start and an end date, so you're not wondering when the dog's going to be adopted and when it's going to leave your house. You already know when it's leaving to go on to transport. So that's really helpful for a lot of people who have time constraints. And you do kind of have a say in what dog you're going to be taking. You get to see the dogs that we have available for transport fostering, and you get to say which one you want to bring into your house. And we often get the question a lot of what happens if we bring this dog into our house and we fall in love with it, or someone we know wants to adopt it. So one thing I can say is that our rescue partners up north do an excellent job at pairing these dogs with families. And a lot of times when we pull them out of the shelters, they've already shown them to a family who's been waiting for a dog like them. And these dogs typically already have families waiting to adopt them. So one good thing is if you're saying, I don't want to foster because I'll keep the dog. Well, when you do transport fostering, you can't keep the dog because the dog already has a commitment and a place to go with a family that's waiting on them and waiting to adopt them. So it's a really good thing if you want to foster but you're scared you're going to keep the dog. We get that question quite a bit. And you can also volunteer to drive transport. You can comment on this post. You can email me h2h, that's H, the number 2, the letter H, at secondchancenc.org. If you'd like to drive and you're local to the Raleigh area, we have lots of needs. So our needs stem from going and picking up dogs at the county shelters and bringing them back to our adoption center here at Second Chance for fosters to pick up. We also need the drivers to drive our transports on Saturday mornings. We typically leave here in Raleigh around 8 a.m. and drive to South Hill, Virginia with dogs. That is our first leg of the trip to get these dogs up north. So if you're interested in volunteering to drive, that is also another great way to help out other than fostering. We can never have too many helpers when it comes to driving. So you can apply at secondchancenc.org /foster a dog. So just look that up. I'm sure we'll have that posted up later online on our Facebook if you want to foster. And like I said, you can also reach out to me if you want to drive transport or you have other questions. You can also comment on this if you have other questions. We can answer them for you, and I can take a look at them later if we don't have time. But we would love to have more fosters. One thing that I'm focused on doing right now is I recently got the statistics of all the shelters in North Carolina from last year and how many animals they took in and how many were released. One shelter that stood out is Montgomery County Animal Shelter. They only released 29% of the animals that they took in. So that is a very disturbing number of animals that did not make it out. So we looked into their shelter. They don't have anyone running social media for them. They don't have a big volunteer group, and no one knows a whole lot about their shelter. They're in a very small town. The county is pretty poor. They really need help. So I have recently reached out to them, and we have started pulling dogs from them and saving dogs. We actually have one of our rescue partners right now who's looking at 3 of their dogs and wants to pull them out of the shelters. We're hoping to do that within the next week. But again, we need some fosters so we can continue to save these dogs. They are great dogs. People always ask, is the dog friendly? Is the dog cat friendly? One thing that we do is we get the dogs tested to be sure that they're dog friendly. So dog friendly is an easy thing for us to say. Usually if the dog is not dog friendly, we're not able to take it because we can't place it into a foster home, because usually our foster home has other animals. So if you are a person thinking about fostering with no other animals, that's a huge bonus for some of these harder to place dogs. But majority of the dogs that we pull are definitely dog friendly, and we test them before putting them into foster homes. Sometimes they can be cat tested at certain shelters. Some shelters don't allow a dog to be cat tested because they are having to use a cat that's already stressed out in the shelter, and it's not fair to that cat to get scared by this big dog approaching it. So some of the shelters don't allow cat testing, unfortunately. And then a lot of people always ask, are they kid friendly? The shelters don't have kids, so there's no way to really test them with kids. What we do is we try to do a good temperament test on them and see, you know, are they scared of loud noises? What happens if I suddenly touch their back? Those types of things. So my answer to that is, if you have a kid and your kid is very respectful towards dogs, we can probably find a dog that will work for your family for you to do a transport foster. And it's short term, so like I said, it's only 2 weeks, so it's not like you're stuck in some permanent situation. So that's the good part about it, especially if you've been thinking about fostering but you're not sure that you want to be a foster. It's a good way to test it out and see if fostering is for you. And we really want to save more dogs. We have rescue partners up north who love to help us save dogs, and our problem we're running into now is we have rescues saying, yes, we'll take this dog and that dog and that dog and that dog, as our county shelters are full and our shelters want them out ASAP. But we're now at the point where we say, well, where do we put the dog? Because we have the adoption center here, but dogs aren't allowed to stay here. There's no place really for a dog to stay. We don't have any runs set up here. So all of our dogs have to go into foster homes. So we really need you guys to sign up to foster. If you've been thinking about it, please reach out to us, sign up to foster. It's very short term, it's very rewarding. We do get updates on these dogs when they're adopted. We get to share them with the people who fostered. It's just great to know that you saved a life. So if you haven't done it yet, you're definitely missing out. So let us know what questions you have, and thanks for joining us today. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you guys. You can continue to ask questions in the comments. We will make sure we are actively responding to them when we get them. Make sure to let all of your friends and family and Facebook group communities, neighborhood communities know that we are in need of foster parents. Dogs like Grant cannot get pulled from the shelter through Megan without us having fosters, so we really need you guys, if you can, to help, because we would be able to save way more dogs.
That is right.
So thank you guys so much. We hope you have a great evening. Wish Grant luck on his transport this week, and we will talk to you soon.